Welcome to Stay Awhile, the podcast that's virtual soul food for your ears. I am your host, Tommi Vincent, and each week we break bread with bold, passionate women who have faced the impossible and are still standing to share their testimonies. Make yourself at home and stay a while. Hi, everyone. This is your host, Tommi Vincent of Stay Awhile Podcast. And today we have joining us at the table, Jacqie McWilliams Parker. Jacqie is the commissioner for the Central Intercollegiate Athletics Association, the CIAA. She is the first appointed female commissioner representing NCAA Division I, II, and III. Additionally, Jacqie is a two-sport collegiate athlete. She played volleyball and basketball. And last but not least, she is a wife and she is a mother. Jacqie, welcome to the Stay a While table.
Oh, it's cool. I'm happy to be at the table. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Absolutely, absolutely. My very first question for you is, who is Jacqie McWilliams Parker?
Wow, that's a good question. And, Jacqie McWilliams Parker is smart. She's strong. She's bold. And she's beautiful. Those are the things that I have said to my daughter and have said to other women, and what I've used in my interview to get this job. And I use that because the strength of resilience and life happenings and challenges since birth, and navigating through that in my career. So the strength in being strong it's not an option. It's something that you learn to do, watching other women and your family and friends, just persevering. The boldness, I advocate for myself. I advocate for others. And it's important in leadership to be able to have voice when sometimes there's the voiceless around you that need you, to be at the table, to have voice for them. But it took me a while to find voice. So when I found it, being bold it's not an option. It's an opportunity to be in spaces and to have the confidence to say what you need to say. And say it so that you can influence and make a difference in the world and the people that you're around. And the smart, I went to Hampton University. I'm a Hampton Pirate. I had a chance to be a two-sport athlete, as you shared. I'm from Colorado Springs, Colorado. I'm a student of life and strategy and leadership. And, it's something every day's learning. And so, being smart is, and having the knowledge, which we all know, knowledge is power. The more that you know and prepare yourself, the more you can help and bring others along and prepare them with you. And the beauty, I think, as a woman of color, how long has it taken to be able to say that I'm beautiful and to hold on to that regardless of what other people think, what other family members or parents say about you, to be able to own that for yourself. And it really starts at the heart. And I would consider that my heart is a beautiful heart and space that will allow others in, that allows everything else that I bring to you at this table and everywhere I go, that I can share that beauty and experience with others and make them feel beautiful as well.
You talked about, finding your voice. And I know that's a process that I myself personally, worked really hard at. And for a very long time, if I'm being honest, I did not know that I didn't even have a voice. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that there were aspects of myself that needed to come forward, that I had, for whatever reason, just not given those parts of me permission to come forward. So there are many women today who have not recognized that their voice is absent from the conversation, that their light is not shining in the earth. How did you get to the place where you recognize, hold up, I need to turn up the volume on me?
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of self-work. I have a therapist. I've had an executive coach, and me and Jesus have a lot of conversations. I think, finding the right people around you that will listen, and hear your voice before you share it on the outside. You've got to have those accountability people as well. But I will tell you, self-work means everything. I mean, to learn to be self-aware, and have the emotional intelligence, whether you're a leader or not, just as a human being, it really matters on how you have that, so that your response is different than your reaction, when you do have a voice. I think it's easy to get upset. It's easy to find excuses. It's easy to judge. I've just learned, how do I own my voice for myself? How do I hold myself accountable for what did happen or didn't happen? And how do I let go of those things that I don't have control of? And what are the spaces that I do need to have voice, and things that I just need to be silent? Because you don't have to have voice on everything. Sometimes your silent is voice. And so learning that tool through therapy, through a lot of self-work, a lot of prayer, has allowed me to find that voice. But I think for me, initially, it was advocating for myself when I knew something wasn't right. And I was so afraid to do that. And once I did it, it kind of was like, okay, and I was able to navigate through it. It gave me so much confidence that if I didn't have voice in that situation, I definitely wouldn't have helped myself. But there were a lot of other people that I didn't know that were depending on somebody that happened to be me to have voice to situations. And so, Tommi, as little Black girls, and sometimes we've been had to be silent. When you go in there, don't you say, you've been trained to not say anything. So you grow up with fear of when you do say something, being an athlete and a coach, but also being an athlete and a captain. I knew that space I had control to have voice. But sometimes the fear of having voice with administration when things weren't right, why can't we practice? Where are our locker rooms? I've had coaches that had voices in that space where I learned to listen to them and how they advocated. And sometimes it didn't work. A lot of times it didn't work back in the day. And so you have these fears based on what you've watched and you've seen that makes you go, nothing's going to happen anyways. But as you can see, voice does matter. And sometimes it takes one person, and that one person is scary. It's scary to have voice on things that you don't know how people are going to take it, or if you're going to be blackballed in the industry, or if you won't get an opportunity because people think every time you come to the table, you have something to say. Mm-hmm. But I think you learn definitely how to use that and that's emotional intelligence and that self-awareness.
How do you move forward with that? Here she go again. When you are emboldened and recognize you have a platform to advocate for other people, and you are the voice at the table, that if you don't say nothing, it's not going to ever be said. How do you move past the thought of, I don't want them to be like, here she go again, and you say, I'm going to say it anyway? How do you get to that place?
Mm-hmm. I think I've learned I don't even talk to myself in that space. I don't even say, well, if I say something here, it's interestingly, I was in a meeting and I'm the only Black female on this call with colleagues that are mostly male. There are some white females on it, and an issue or an opportunity came up and I didn't agree with the opportunity. And I appreciated that it was brought to the table, but I said there needs to be more homework. I've looked at the foundation. I see who's on it. It doesn't look like there's anybody that represents who we are. There's no diversity. Like, do we know before we say, yes, we're going to have this as a partner? I said, I don't partner with anybody if I don't know if I'm not aware of how they're in alignment. And I do look at their boards and I do look at their staff because I want to see representation of women, people of color, diversity. I want to know what their mission is. And I had got a text from the chair, and he said, I'm sorry that I didn't prepare or I didn't know those things before you had to say something, because you're always the one who has to say something. So I recognize that my colleagues know that when there's topics that deal with the larger picture, not just in the moment, that I'm the one who's going to say something. But I take hold of that because I'm a strategic person. I'm not in this position by default. I haven't moved this conference by mistake. I've moved this conference because, as I said when I took this job, nobody will ever see what Jacqie McWilliams Parker sees, because I'm your visionary. I've been given the gift and the talent to see beyond, so you don't have to worry about that. Let me just give you the dream, and then give me the resources so I can make the dream happen. And so, when I get on boards and calls or meetings and I'm in rooms, I'm thinking about the interconnection of it all. So yes, I might be the only one, because I think that's my gift. Maybe that's not their gift, but it's my gift. I wish that others could see that they should stand up and say it too. But as I've shared with a mentor who talked to me and said, I was so glad you said something. They were just on a call, as a support to their conference. And she said, because nobody would ever say anything. And I said, well, nobody says anything because they're in the moment of how it reflects and impacts them. I work for an HBCU conference. I'm a woman of color, so I'm not sensitive. I'm just very aware of what the needs are for the impact and the opportunity for my conference and for me as a woman of color. And so, yeah, I'm going to address it. And if they don't, that's fine. It's unfortunate that maybe they're not self-aware, but I'm very clear about my gift and my talent to strategically see things more than the surface.
Mm-hmm. I have found for myself that my voice is not always in what I have to say. My voice also shows up in my actions.
Yes.
And for a long time, there was this one particular situation that I experienced in my life that was triggering. And so I would have a lot of negative self-talk on why didn't you say something? Why didn't you say something? And then when I pulled away from the situation and I really allowed for God to show me the movie again, in that moment, I did not say anything. But what I did do immediately from that conversation is I changed course of action. I discontinued my work with that person. And it took for me to sit in that in a way where I was allowing the little girl in me who had experienced some trauma in her life to recognize that fighting for yourself doesn't have to show up with you running your mouth. Sometimes that's required. You have to use your words. And in this particular case, my actions spoke loud and clear about my decision not to tolerate what was done to me in that moment. And I think it's really important that we identify how our voice shows up best for us in situations. Is this a time for me to talk? Is this a time for me to be silent? Is this a time for me to take action? Because when we recognize that, to your point of being strategic, we can move through scenarios and get the desired outcome we need so that we can make the impact that is necessary that will, ripple out to other people to benefit from using our voice.
Yeah. Let me just commend you for finding that for yourself, because I do think I have triggering moments too. How you speak to me, your tone to me, it matters. It really does matter. And I think being able to identify those boundaries for yourself is self-awareness, Tommi. Like what you just talked about, you're very aware of those things that trigger you, that don't sound right, that don't feel right. Do you need to spend energy? Like I'm learning, I'm not spending energy responding to that nonsense. Do I want to sometimes? Absolutely. That's the Jaquita in me. But Jacqie McWilliams Parker says that's not where you're going to put your energy. It just doesn't matter. I mean, and when I mentor people, I mentor young women of color, and they call and they want me to help them navigate through a situation. And what I say to them, what do you want the outcome to look like for you? So if you say X, Y, and Z, what do you want out of X, Y, and Z? Do you want a response? Do you want an apology? Do you want resolve? What is it? Be clear about what you want in the outcome when you're going to have a conversation or respond or react to something, because not everybody's going to be prepared to what you bring to the table based on their trauma, based on their style, based on who they are and their lack of or self-awareness, right? And so I've learned that in this role very, very quickly, that everybody's not going to like you, everybody's not going to hear you, and everybody knows how to do my job. Well, when you get it, then you can do it. Until then, I'm very clear about why I'm here and the gift I've been given to be here and be able to sustain for now 13 seasons. So that self-awareness, I think, is so important. And when you find it, regardless of your past, and own it for yourself, it is refreshing. It is survival for me. Like, I breathe with much more joy than I have in the past.
So you know what it feels like to be a champion. You were part of the 1988 D2 women's basketball team that were champions. And you also have been in atmospheres where there was a championship, where you were part of orchestrating the conference and being in that environment. Since you've been the commissioner over these past 12 years, what is a moment that you've experienced through your work where you had that feeling of a champion again?
I always have the moment at every championship, honestly. I love what I get to do for these student athletes. You know, my intent is always to make sure that they have that experience in this conference that they may not get. I've been at a national championship and have won NCAA. We didn't win a CIAA conference championship, but conference CIAA championships means everything to our coaches, to our board, to our student athletes. So when you win a CIAA championship, that's a pretty big deal. And the opportunity that I have with my team to put that on. So, you know, when we're at the CIAA basketball tournament, that's our largest platform, thousands of people, crazy economic impact, so many events for 7 days. When you get on championship night, Tommi, and that national anthem and then the Black national anthem plays, I am just so proud that, one, I'm a part of it. I'm a part of a history. I'm standing on people's shoulders that gave me that opportunity, and that I get to create this experience. And how far we've come to when, you know, 150 years or this conference was established, or not 150 years, 112 years now that this conference was established, and I get to be a part of it. So, you know, there are a lot of special moments here. When I cut a deal and I'd be like, oh, shoot, did I just really do that? You know, there used to be fears in my first few years. I'm like, we can't do that. Like, it's almost like as women, sometimes you don't appreciate or understand and know your value. And when I understood the value in the branding of this conference, my confidence, and then when I got some deals done, that was like, oh my gosh, they're really going to sign, or they're going to pay us that. Like, that is powerful to be able to do that and find voice in the courage. A lot of that I get from my board of directors, who are presidents and who are negotiating at their institutions all the time. And so they really empower me to have my voice. And that's always special when you have those individuals around you. And then when it happens, you can really celebrate the moments of it happening because you have that support. It means the world to me to be at a championship and be like, oh my gosh, this is pretty amazing. Look at all these partners. Look at these student athletes. Look at these trophies. Look at these fans. Like, people are here. Like, it's so culturally, spiritually filling for me to be a part of this.
You just mentioned about the power, you know, that comes along with the accomplishments. And, you know, we see leaders who have accomplished great things get drunk on power and abuse power. How do you maintain your level of success and not allow the power to obscure your vision for the mission work that you're on?
Yeah, that's a given the state of what we're in right now and all the things that we're seeing, money, power, it's a big thing. And, when I came into this conference, that was some of the issues of the prior leadership, that it ended up being more about the person than the organization. This was my dream job. And I asked God, if I ever had the opportunity to be the commissioner of this conference, that I would lead it in a way that I would be humble. I would serve. I'm a service organization. I'm a servant leader. And I think because of my faith and I understand what the mission is for my life and my responsibility, I understand the power I have. And sometimes I don't understand it as much as people say that it is. Because at the end of the day, I honestly just want to show up and do my work, have fun and play and leave, run championships. But I do recognize that when I go in spaces or even in my own office, that individuals feel intimidated or they feel like, oh my God, the commissioner's here. And I think it's my job to let you know that I am here, but I'm human. And I value you. I see you. I hear you. I love you. Like, let's go. Let's go to lunch together, intern. And they're like, oh my God, she's going to lunch. Like, you've got to humanize. I mean, and I get, where I am and how to play. And it's not role playing for me. It's the position that I have, the opportunity I have. And I just pray, God, don't ever let me take for granted the power and the position that you give to me and the platform I have to really make a difference in this position. It's incredibly important for me. And I say this to my board all the time. I never want to feel, sometimes we feel like imposters. I've had to work on that too, because I'm like, am I really in this position? And I get to make these decisions and I get to influence. And even like that, being the only voice in the room that says it, it's a respected listen from my colleagues because they know I'm coming from the right place. And I'm not bullying. I'm not trying to I'm giving you facts and this is what it is. And this is where I stand. And so I know from my colleagues and from being in this position and out of the circle that people know my heart and my intent. And I don't want to ever take that for granted because of the power I have in the position that I have and the places I get to go.
So your guiding principles are learning, earning, and returning. Can you elaborate on each and share how they shape your leadership style?
Absolutely. I would say he was a mentor when I was at the NCAA on the Division I men's basketball staff. And there was a commissioner from the Big Sky, Doug, and we would talk about stuff. He had me reading what was the book? The Strength of the Sun. There was a couple of books that I just fell in love with. And I wasn't a commissioner. I was a director of men's basketball. And I got to travel with all these amazing commissioners and leaders and ADs in the world of athletics and men mostly. And we were talking about 2020 vision. And it was really him telling me that. And I said, well, I'm taking that for life because, 20 years of learning, if you think about it, you go to preschool, kindergarten, elementary, middle school, whatever, high school, you're learning. You go to college, you graduate from college. Now you are earning. You're hoping that you get that position that you've been dreaming about, or at least get a job so you can take care of yourself and get out of the nest. And you spend your next 20 years chasing your dreams, your job, and you're earning, but you're still learning in that whole opportunity. That's 40 years. And then there gets to a point where you should be returning. I think we should always return, but you can focus on it, particularly if you get yourself in a position where you're able to return. And sometimes it's not always financially. Your feet are on the ground where you can serve and you can support and you can give back, whatever, your time, your talent. That is the returning. And I've just prayed again that in this 2020 that I have, that I will continue to learn every single day. I will continue to return in some kind of way. And my earnings allows me to return in a very different way that I will always not selfishly give. I will give from the heart and the hands and the head to the best of my ability. And so I think there's a responsibility. And I tell students and even my daughter, you got 20/20/20 vision. You're going to learn, you're going to earn, and you're going to return in some kind of way.
You've been an advocate for women, notably in HBCU athletics, so much so that you were inducted into the Virginia Union University Hall of Fame for your commitment to women's sports. Why is this an area that you have planted your flag in to be an advocate for?
Because somebody advocated for me. I mean, I would tell you, and I say this all the time, if it wasn't for sports and the opportunity to play, if my mom didn't expose me to all the little things, baton twirling, I'm roller skating again, too. I bought some roller skates, Tommi.
I saw you, girl, on your Instagram roller skate.
My husband is like, why do you look like a child in high? I'm like, because it is my inner energy. Bowling, gymnastics, and we moved all the time, so I never could stay. And my parents didn't think like we could send you off and be a gymnast. That was never a thought, and never did I want to. But the exposure to sport like saved everything. It got me out of the house. It got me out of some dysfunctions of the family. It allowed me to get a degree. It allowed me to be in the career that I love. And so, you know, the opportunity to be able to give back and do the same that was given to me. And that's why I advocate hard for women in the industry, for Title IX and gender equity, because it was a fight for my coaches and administrators to let me play. And I'm just appreciative to have the opportunity to go to college and play 2 sports and to play sports while I ran track in high school. It was a 3-sport, and they almost tried to get me to run at Hampton. I was like, no. But I'm grateful. My bonus daughter ran track at Norfolk State. You know, she is in the Coast Guard now. You know, there's so many skills that you learn from it. I got a text from one of my former players. They stay in touch. They still call me coach. Now, mind you, I was 23. They were like 18 and 19. So think about the separation, and I'm having to act more grown than I really feel. But I learned very well, very early how to do that, to separate, you know, my youngness from theirs to be a good coach. And I got a text, and she's working on her dissertation, and she asked me if I would sit on and listen. Like, that's why, you know, you advocate because you want to make sure that these women feel like they have hope and an opportunity to do something way beyond what they thought they can do. Whether they receive a scholarship or not, you have a chance to coach them and give them the space. And when I was coaching, I would say, look, we might not be able to play, but y'all gonna look good when you walk in. You know, so we walk in with our uniforms and our shoes looking like we was gonna ball. And yeah, we might have lost a couple of times my first year. We were truly like, if I had 5 players on a good day, I was like, oh Lord, we need 6. But I think when they saw that somebody cared about their program and was investing more than just trying to win a game, I was investing into young women. And giving them an opportunity to play and making sure to the best of my ability, I could give them the resources they needed to go to school and to play the game that they love in college. Like it's a blessing. It's hard, but I'm just grateful that I had a chance to do it, at least try, you know?
Mm-hmm. So this is our last question before we move into our next segment. How do you believe your faith is an advantage in your leadership, in your ability to lead? Let me rephrase that. How do you believe that your faith is an advantage in your ability to lead?
It is the guiding of everything. I mean, every time I think I can do something on my own, he just reminds me, girl, sit down. I mean, you know, Ecclesiastes talks about, you know, lean not on your own understanding. I'll direct your path. I have prayed that prayer and said that in every job that I've taken, and that I was afraid to apply for or didn't think I was prepared for. And there's not been one time that when I've given him that prayer, he has put the no or he's put the yes. I trust and believe in that. You know, my mother, and like most parents and grandparents that pray for you, she's always said, you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. So I have leaned on that in my state of fear, even here, even in the moments of, is this right or wrong? I have left meetings, board meetings during a break, and have gone to my room and I have prayed and I've said, Lord, I don't know what's happening in that room right now, but I need you. Hear me. Give me clarity on how to go in here and move this, because I just don't know right now. It's too much going on. Overwhelming. It calms my spirit. I go in there and then I go out the meeting. I'm like, did that just happen? Like, I am so in awe with him, how he loves me, how he uses me, and how he hears me. And I'm only here, Tommi, honestly, is because I heard his voice. You know, this month is prevention month, suicide prevention month. I would consider myself a suicide survivor. I would consider myself in dark places where I have contemplated on several occasions my worth and value on being on this earth. And it's because I heard his voice in that bathroom that I'm here. And so there's no mistake. I don't put it on anybody. I just walk in his grace. And if you want to walk in his grace, then come on with me, because I know what he's done for me and why I'm here. I've watched my daughter go through these teenage, and I'm like, Lord, don't let me lose her. Like everyone says, when they turn 16 and 17, they go in the dark and they come. I was like, that would never happen. And it happened. It happened after COVID. And I just started to pray. And he brought my baby back. She got a full scholarship to Hampton University. She wants to be a doctor. I am in awe of her. And she recognizes that God loves her too. And when she got that scholarship and saw the shift, she said, Mommy, God loves me. Like, Tommi, like how, that's why my faith, I know, I'm about to cry, but I'm telling you, I absolutely know what he does for me. And I know what he's done for other people through prayer and the power of prayer. So, you know, I'm not in this job by mistake. I often pray and say, Lord, if this is not your will, then remove. And he's like, sister, this is your dream job. I put you there and you still got work to do. And I'm going to let you know when it's time to go. So, you know what? I'm going to keep moving and enjoying what I'm doing. And I've learned how to embrace the gift and the talents and the opportunities he's given to me more than try to resist, you know, the gifts and the talents that he's given me.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. You know, sometimes people look at individuals and they think, I want what they have. And they don't understand all that it required for them to get where they are, and their experiences that have molded and shaped them into the person that they are today. And I believe that when we offer transparency and we offer up our stories, we also connect with people who may be in that situation or who have experienced that situation. And so we provide hope for tomorrow and an opportunity to recognize that, oh no, you too can overcome. You too can make it. You too can become everything that God created you to be. So I really, really appreciate you sharing that with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate that too. It's a journey. And I think all of our stories are different. You know, when people ask you, well, how'd you get there? I'm like, look at here. It went an easy path. It might look easy, and maybe it's easier now because I had to go through some things just to appreciate it not being so hard. Like, I get it. I get what the tests were. Sadly, I get it. I get what the emotional bandwidth and, the letdowns and the disappointments and the misunderstandings. And if anything, it's just helped me grow as a person and to be more empathetic to other people. I don't play with people's hearts and minds. I just won't, because mine's been played with. And I refuse to do that to the people I work with and the people that I love. It's not me.
So let's move into our next segment, which is I am bringing her to the table with me. And this is your opportunity to give another woman her virtual flowers, because without her fingerprint on your life, you would not be where you are today.
It's my mom. My mom died in 2007. And there's still not a day after 17 years or 16 years that I don't think about her, that I don't feel her presence, that I don't hear her voice. When you're that little Black girl and you don't think that you're pretty enough. And, the one thing that I knew I was good is I could compete, I could run and play, I could beat you in basketball. That was my saving space. That's where I knew I could be, but I couldn't control my skin color. I couldn't control my hair texture. I couldn't control the things that people said that made me feel like I wasn't special. And my mom always tried to do that for me, always tried to. And then sometimes I just didn't get it until later on in life, what she was trying to impress in me, that bold, strong, beautiful, like, you got this. And, but the world tells you and you see things differently. In my career, even when she was alive and I had my daughter, I'm like, how am I gonna be a mom and be traveling and doing all this stuff? She encouraged me that I could. She said, you'll just do it. My mom was a stay-home mom, mostly military mom, moved us every 3 to 4 years. So her job was to get us settled. It was just me and my sister, who's 9 years younger, and she just passed in April. So, but my mom was that encourager, that supporter. She knew this was my dream job. So I so wish that she would have been here, but I know she saw it. You know what I'm saying? I think she knew that this was my dream job. She just wasn't here to see it. And so I'm just grateful that she just told me, you can do all things. Don't ever limit yourself. Don't do what we used to do as women, just do your best. And some of that was good and bad. I don't want to say bad. I think I was so focused on being independent. Mm-hmm. It's been really hard for me to allow other people to do things for me and to receive that, because I don't want to owe anybody anything. I had that mentality, even when I got married the first time, like, you ain't got to do nothing for me. I can take care of myself kind of mentality. We a team, but let's be clear. I'm a captain of my ship kind of thing. And, now I get it. In this marriage here with Sean, like, he's my teammate. It's a very different dynamic of what I think about relationships and in my career and the support I have from him. He's not competing with me. He's actually celebrating me. And he's my cheerleader and my protector. Let's go. What you got? Like at the tournament, when I feel like, oh my God, I can't do it. He's like, get it together. Come on, coach. He's like, get it together. You ain't got time to be sick and tired. Get your clothes on and let's go. And I'd be like, really, coach? He's like, really, let's go. So you got a game
now.
Yeah, we got a game. You got 3 more days to go and you about to pass out. Lay down for 2 minutes and go. So I'm appreciative that I have a teammate and I understand what that means, so that I don't try to carry the burden by myself. I don't have to. Mm-hmm. I don't have to. You need teams. We all need teams. Whether you're married or not, whether you have children or not, you got to find that team that will allow you to be your best version. They will hold you accountable. They'll hold you. And my mom was a great team member for me. She's that woman that I will give her flowers every single day until I see her again, for always making sure that I had my flowers and I understood what the mission was for my life.
Mm-hmm. That's so beautiful. So we're going to move into our third and final segment, and this consists of some questions with some food, and then we have a little fun game that I'm going to sneak in at the end. So your first question in our Food is Love segment is, what food best describes your personality and why?
Oh, I love these questions. I'm so excited about this segment because I am a foodie. Oh my gosh. And that's a hard question. I love soul food, but let me tell you, soul food to me, when we go to Jamaica, that's like soul food. When we go to any Hispanic, Cuban, Puerto Rican, that is soul. I love flavor. I love plantains. I love rice and peas and a whole fish fried. And I will eat it from the rooty to the tooty with the bone is just left. Like that to me, I'm excited. That's like, let's go. Yes, yes.
Well, that sounds a lot like your coach saying, let's go, let's go. You ain't got no time to be tired. Let's go.
Exactly.
Name a time in your life when food was healing for you.
It is healing for me now. In a positive way, because I've learned how to eat better. I've never been a really bad eater. I love fruit. But, you know, if I can be transparent on here, you turn 50, I'm 55, this whole premenopausal, menopause, whoever that chick is, you're working out and you just, everything changes. Like, it's stuff that you hear, but nobody really tells you. And I'm finding myself in this circle with women of my friends, like, we're all patting, we don't drink wine anymore because it makes us, I mean, it's really, really hilarious to me, but not funny because we got night sweats. So I started intermittent fasting January 7th. I was probably at the highest weight that I've ever been. I've been looking at pictures back and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm only 5'2" and a half, 5'3" playing basketball, maybe 5'5" on the roster. But I was 160 when I was pregnant with my daughter. And it felt like every decade of being 30, 40, 50, I was gaining that 10 pounds within the decade. And on January 7th this past year, I said, no more. You know, the Weight Watchers and all that other stuff, something's got to change. So I've been intermittent fasting since January 7th. And when I do open up my 4 to 5 or 6 hours to eat, I enjoy everything that I eat. I love it. It's discipline for me. I love avocados and tomatoes, and I love a good piece of raisin toast bread. Like, I love food. I mean, and it's hard when you're trying to enjoy food and you can't eat the things that you love. So intermittent fasting has allowed me to, I ate 2 cupcakes yesterday and didn't feel guilty. I was just like, yes, land wherever you want to, because I'm about to fast for 16 hours. You know what I'm saying? So I think food is a beautiful thing. You know, I do think that we have to manage and monitor what we eat and we drink, no different than, you know, what we watch and what we consume. But I don't ever want to stop eating the things that I love. So intermittent fasting has helped me really appreciate eating much more than it has in the last 4 or 5 years.
Does your family have an heirloom recipe that is passed down from generation to generation?
Well, they're trying to get the pound cake recipe that my grandmother gave me. I mean, I don't, you know. I shared it with my cousins. I hope it's the right thing. But my grandmother's pound cakes, my nanny, oh my gosh. Everyone, you know, a lot of people make great pound cakes, but it was something about my nanny's pound cake. And I just mess up because I open up the oven and she says, do not open up that oven. And every time I do, it messes up. So the pound cake, we have the Leggett family on my dad's side, my nanny on my mom, on my dad's side too. But we have a Leggett's family recipe book that all of our cousins and family put together, this recipe book years ago for our family reunion. And I still have it. And it's recipes from making biscuits in 3 steps that works. I mean, you know, the water, the flour, the Like, really? That's it? Dressing, stuff that I don't make all the time, but holidays, I will go to that recipe book, and my mother was an amazing cook. So I learned a lot of stuff from her, but there was just certain things I struggle with. Biscuits and dressing are like a challenge for me, but I'm getting better.
Now, wait a minute.
And fried green tomatoes. I love fried.
Okay. Nanny said, don't open the oven. And every time you open the oven, it ruins the pound cake. Why do you keep opening the oven?
Tommy, I don't know. I just want to see it. I'm just like, just turn the light on. She's like, don't open that oven. Let that, don't put it on 350, 325 for an hour and 60 minutes or whatever it is. And I'm like, I just want to make sure it's done. If you just let it stay in the time it's supposed to, don't open it, it'll be fine. And every time I open it, that thing I watch it just go down.
Well, listen, you know what the problem is. So I do. That's all I'm going to say. All right. So now this is our round of this or that.
Oh, wow.
And all of these, this or that, is specific to HBCU, the HBCU experience.
Got it.
Okay. This is classic rivalries. Howard versus Hampton or Jackson State versus Southern?
Howard and Hampton.
Yard Fest or the Greek Stroll?
Yard Fest.
Yeah, I knew you was going to say Yard Fest because I saw you on Instagram going to town to follow me. I said, okay.
Yard Fest. I'm all in. Let's go. And my family are Jackson State grads. They are SWAC people. Okay. I am a CIAA MEAC person. So.
Drumline or the Majorettes?
Oh, goodness. I like them both. Oh, Drumline. Because then I can do my Majorette.
The best of both worlds.
Exactly.
Fried Fish Fridays or Soul Food Sundays?
Girl, Fried Fish Friday. Every Friday in the Parker house. Every Friday.
Thurgood Marshall or Booker T. Washington?
Oh, Thurgood Marshall. He went Lincoln University. It's my conference school.
The Bayou Classic or the Battle of the Bay?
Ooh, Battle of the Bay. That's home.
Howard University or North Carolina A&T?
I'm going A&T. I'm a Hampton grad. I'm not cheering for no Howard. Sorry.
Athletics or Greek life?
Athletics.
That was a no-brainer. So these are HBCU movies. Drumline or School Days?
School Days.
All right now. So that was the end of our this or that. And this is the end of our conversation. But before I let you go, is there anything that you would like to share in conversation that we have not talked about already?
No, Tommi, I just want to thank you for giving me a different space to show up. It's I love the questions and the platform and the opportunity to share differently than I have in other spaces, but creating the space for women like me who maybe people don't know really who I am. Maybe they've seen me, but here's an opportunity to know more than just what you see. And thank you for that. I really, really appreciate it. And just making it fun. I was looking forward to, I didn't want to wait another month or two. I needed this for my own soul, honestly. So thank you. It's perfect timing for me.
Thank you. And I really appreciate you coming to the table and just really giving us nourishment for our souls and giving us a bird's eye view into more of Jacqie. And just know that you are always welcome at the Stay Awhile table.
Thank you.
I hope you felt the love and connection in today's conversation. Every woman you heard from has faced the impossible and emerged stronger. This is your personal invitation to stay a while longer at TommiV.com. That's TOMMIV.com for more inspiration for your mind, body, and soul. And let's not forget your belly. You're always welcome at my table. Please be sure to subscribe, make yourself at home, and stay a while.